Welcome to Chicago Bulls Chat with CHGO. This podcast is part of the Fans First Sports Network. Wherever or however you're listening, make sure to rate, review and subscribe. It helps us out and means you never miss another episode. If you're watching on YouTube, make sure to hit the thumbs up button and leave some comments for us to get back to. And for all the CHGO action, check out the Discord channel and across the socials. Now, over to your hosts, Matt Hearn and Neill Dunn.
Welcome back. I'm Matt, and as usual, joined by Neill. How are we doing, Neill?
Yeah, I'm not bad at all. Apart from the hour of day that we are at, just about to start recording the pod at 1 a.m.
Yeah, which why not? Normal time to be up.
Yeah,
for
well,
us, anyway,
not during the off season.
Yeah, I mean there is obviously a reason why we're up at this time, and it is because we've got two guests with us tonight.
Yes.
We've had them on before individually, but we've got them together this time, and it is Big Dave and Matt Peck from CHGO Bulls. So I'll throw it to the merch ad, and when we come back, we will be joined by them too.
Help support the podcast and the brand at CHGO by heading to our merch site, where you'll find a variety of designs on things like mugs, t-shirts and hoodies, including our Bulls Ellis and Flop of the Fro, with plenty more designs still to come. Link is in the description.
Okay, so welcome to Big Dave and Matt Peck from CHGO Bulls. How you doing, guys?
Peace, bro. What's up, man?
Doing lovely.
Good,
Matt,
great.
Neill, always a pleasure.
Great to have you with us. Great to have you with us. This is something new we've not done before, to have you both together. So really looking forward to this. Should be a bit of fun. We're going to chat through a few different Bulls topics and subjects and see how it flows between us. So first and foremost, I know that you just kind of finished recording your own episode tonight on CHGO not that long ago. So I do appreciate you jumping on again to the mics to talk to us guys as well.
It's good practice for getting back into the part of the NBA calendar year that we have on deck and in the actual season, because doing two shows in one day is like we got to get reused to that. The off season's nice. We're usually just doing one show, our show, and then we move on. But it's like, there are some days. I'm sure, Dave, you're the same way. It's like, did I do 4 Bulls podcasts today?
Yeah, been there for sure. Absolutely. Yeah, you lose count sometimes. You're like, really? Like, oh wow. Yeah, it's beautiful though. I'm not complaining.
Yeah, that shows the love for the team, right? If you can comfortably sit on and record multiple times in one day, talking about the same thing, really, more or less.
Yeah.
Nobody said comfortable.
Well,
that's my guy. That's my guy right there.
It hasn't been comfortable to be a Bulls fan in quite some time, right?
He's named Matt for a reason, sir.
Yeah. Runs in the name, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, it does.
So, how was it chatting to C Red Fred tonight, Matt? How did you get on?
Honestly, my biggest takeaway from having Fred on today is I'm so glad how happy it made Dave. I mean, like Big Dave, as you guys know, I've probably told you before, just spreads positivity and joy to everyone in his life, whether they be people he works with or people he crosses paths with on the street for 30 seconds one day. And it's exhausting to be around, honestly. But when I see Dave, and like he operates at a level of like just general joy, like on a day-to-day, hour-to-hour basis, more so than me, where like I'm not walking around pissed off at the world, but like he clearly operates at a more optimistic level and frequency. So when you see Dave like extra happy about something, it punches you in the heart with like a little extra juice. And so I for whatever reason, it brings Dave so much joy to see me and see Red Fred interact. And so to get to do that and play my small part in making Dave that amount of happy is what I am happy about.
The joy was off the charts. I was so happy. They hadn't done a show together in years, and I knew this kind of new iteration of C Red Fred, where he is just not happy about what's going on with the team. And I don't think Matt really knew this iteration of Fred.
No, because I muted him on Twitter like 2 years ago.
See what I mean? See what I mean? But I was very excited for him to hear these thoughts because I knew how Fred felt, and their thoughts kind of lined up on certain things. And it was just fun to see. And then I knew when it was going to fall apart at the same time. So that was fun to see as well. So it was just me. I'm sure when you saw the show, it was just me smiling a lot, not saying too much, just enjoying that moment. And off camera, I'm looking at Will, just smiling like, "Look at this is the best! Like this is awesome." And then Will understood after the show why I was so happy because he had never really done a show with Fred like that. Right. And then when it was over, he was like, "Okay, man, yeah, that was amazing." He was like, "That was amazing." So yeah, shout out to Fred. Love having him on. It's just great, man. It's always great to talk to him, but it's just always great to watch him and Matt go at it with each other. It's just the best because they started as soon as he walked in. They started immediately, man. If y'all should have heard those conversations, those amazing.
I got receipts going back many years on Fred. I love pulling them out. But yeah, I mean, Dave's right. I was pleasantly surprised. Fred, like before we, actually started the show, we were just kicking around the office. He's like, I got to air a lot of grievances. And I was like, okay, great. Like the floor is yours. And it is nice after wondering for so long how many like brain cells he truly has up there with some of these Bulls takes he has. Like he clearly has finally seen the light, and he was just as unimpressed and disillusioned with this offseason of like, hey, I guess bottom of the barrel credit. They finally recognized things weren't working and decided not to do, continuity 4.0 with the Caruso trade, the DeMar signing trade. And I was like, oh, Fred actually sees this as the same gigantic problem that I see, lying ahead for this team in this very dicey situation. Like, welcome, Fred. Welcome to reality. That's cool.
To be fair, you weren't the only one that seemed to be kind of struggling with some of the things he had to say, though. It looked like Will was struggling a little bit on a few occasions too.
Yeah.
Well, my favorite one that I can recall off the top of my head is towards the end of the show, and we were talking about like going to the play-in versus should they have started selling off their valuable assets at the trade deadline this past season. And Fred was like, yeah, no, it's all about the value of the experience of the playoff series for guys like Io and Kobe. And yeah, I wanted them to go. I don't regret that they didn't make any trade deadline moves. And he looked over at Goat and he was like, you agree with me, right, Goat? And Goat was just like, no, Fred, I don't.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was great. It was great, man. I'm glad that Will got to experience that for the first time because Fred is also just very knowledgeable too. And he knows what he's talking about. And I just love the fact that he stands on what he says. Like, and he doesn't mind standing alone. That's why I've always kind of admired because I'm like that. So I love that about Fred, man. Like he will go toe to toe with you all day long about anything, especially Bulls related. But I love Matt for it too, because Matt will happily go toe to toe with him, but continuously hold his feet to the fire until they just charred and burned. and then we'll let it go and then put his hands in the fire and hold those to the fire as well. So it's just so much fun for me to sit there and watch that happen between those two guys, man. Like it's so much fun, dog. For me, I had a great day.
I mean,
I had a really great day.
For the most part, for the last number of years interacting with Fred on social media about the Bulls, I feel like I embody the Jesse Pinkman gif of yelling about Walter White, like he can't keep getting away with this. Like, what are some of these Bulls takes, and how is no one holding him accountable? But on top of that, I will say and echo kind of what Dave was talking about. Like, I have so much respect for Fred's knowledge of the NBA, the history of the league, what's going on currently around the league. I mean, like, he corrected me about Caruso's 3-point percentage and whether or not this season he just had was his career best, and he was right. I stand corrected. I will always admit when I'm wrong about something. I tend to have held the opinion over the last number of years that some of Fred's Bulls opinions and takes are outrageous and wild and flat out wrong. But he knows more than most people I come across and interact with on a daily basis who talk about the NBA. He is very, very bright.
Yeah,
for sure. So we obviously we watch your show all the time. We interact when we can. Or what I tend to do is I tend to listen to it the following day because sleep and stuff. But we know you've been running through your player prove-its and your team assessments over the last couple of episodes, and you're going to continue to do that going forward. But if you could choose one thing to do differently over the off-season that would have an impact on this upcoming season, so no easy cop-out saying trade picks for Caruso, right? What would it be? So I'll let Dave go first and then see what you think.
I mean, honestly, that was the first answer that popped in my head was I want picks for Caruso. Right. But I would say finding a way to trade Zach LaVine would be the move. The Bulls have made their decision, but haven't really signed the contract. You know what I mean? Like they know what they want to do and what kind of team they want to be, but it's like they haven't signed they keep missing the dates to come into the office and sign the contract for some reason. And the contract is we're going to go young and we're going to be fun bad. And that's all it is like that. Now, there are definitely reasons why, obviously, they can't trade Zach LaVine. We've gone over them exhaustively. So we understand the reasons why. But that is definitely one thing I wish that they could change, because getting Zach off, then everything starts to make basketball sense a little bit for this team, as far as guys who you want to see get playing time. You want to see Josh Giddey at point guard, if you want to see Josh Giddey at the 3, if you want to see Patrick Williams at the 3, or you want to see him at the 4, you want to see if Dalen Terry can shoot, you want to see what Modest Buzelis can do, and give these guys more time to make their mistakes and find their footing, and Kobe White and Ayo Dosunmu and all those kind of guys. I think with Zach being there and knowing they still have to showcase him, obviously is going to be an issue with that, because you have to do that because you're still trying to get him off the squad. So I would say that would be my thing. I wish that they were able to get him to another team and just start this, march to keeping this top 10 pick that they really, really, really need to keep.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I think Dave hit it on the head. Like, there are a lot of things you can nitpick. I'm not thrilled that they weren't the team to get the pick swap and the 3-team DeMar sign-in trade. They could have been that team had they been willing to do certain other thing like accommodate Harrison Barnes' salary, but they weren't. So instead, they get a couple of second rounders. I would have liked something other than just a 1-for-1 swap for Giddey, because I'm not a big believer in Josh Giddey at the moment. And knowing the Caruso, our most valuable trade asset, that was the return, is frustrating. But Dave is 100% correct. All of this, where the rebuild that's not fully torn down yet goes from here, all of it hinges on the fact that Zach LaVine is still very awkwardly here, and they could not get a trade done for him. And look, I think there are plenty of culprits for why Zach is still here. The front office being stubborn about a team that was mediocre and going nowhere. Zach and his people electing to have mid-season surgery when it wasn't necessarily like mandated that he have that surgery for the longevity health of his career. And like the fact that also the new CBA makes it very difficult to trade someone who has a contract like Zach's, with the inability for these teams above the certain apron to aggregate salaries in these trades. So like, there are a million reasons why Zach is still here, and there are a million people who are to blame for the fact that Zach is still here. But by and large, you still have to point the biggest finger at the people who run the team and make basketball operations decisions and transactions. They have failed in the initial steps of this rebuild because they have failed to trade Zach LaVine.
Mm-hmm. And do you think with the Zach LaVine contract and the way the new CBA agreement came in and affected everything, do you think that was just a poor reading of the landscape by the front office, or just unfortunate?
Probably a combination of both. The Bulls and like Garpax are guilty of this too, and AK and Eversley are clearly guilty of this. Maybe it's a Bulls thing. They have a tendency to overvalue their assets while they are in their building, as they like to say. So maybe it's a combination of that, and that the market for teams trying to make a big in-season trade for a player like that with a contract like that was a very short list of teams. And maybe other than a handful of initial phone call conversations in a few directions, those talks largely went nowhere and broke down. I think it's a combination of unfortunate circumstances and the fact that after that first, big 2021 offseason where they're like, wow, we executed a sign and trade for Lonzo. We executed a sign and trade for DeMar. We got Alex Caruso on this deal of deal. They proved that they were capable of having this bonanza offseason where they executed all these different deals, and then they sat with their thumbs up their butts for 3 years. And so now the skepticism of why is Zach still here and why haven't they found a trade for him, I think it's fair to wonder what they have done behind the scenes to try to get that trade done and why it hasn't happened.
Yeah, I'm with him on that. Yeah, go ahead, man.
Yeah, I was just going to say, you mentioned another player amongst all of that there that's kind of not done a lot for the last 2-3 years. Lonzo Ball, obviously could potentially be back. Probably not, might be, who knows. Been the story for the last 2 years now, hasn't it? So, great story that he's potentially coming back. But do you think him getting playing time potentially hinders the actual progression of some of this young core, whether it's Josh Giddey, maybe even Kobe, obviously been in the same sort of position. Like I say, great story, but me personally, I'm not that excited to see him back. I know majority of Bulls Nation are. Do you think it does hinder the progress of this team, or do you think it helps?
His situation, I think, is a little different than Zach's. Only because, one, Lonzo Ball is not a me first kind of ball player. Not saying that Zach is like me, but Zach's got to have the ball to score. You know what I mean? He needs a high usage. You know what I'm saying? He's not me. He's not that. But his pouting didn't help matters at all. All right, his pouting and all that other crap didn't help matters at all. But no, man, his teammates will tell you he's not that kind of person. But on the floor, yeah, Zach likes having the basketball, and he's only shown like he's really awesome when he has the basketball, and that's when he can really provide what he needs for the Bulls. So that makes him, that high usage kind of guy. Whereas Zoe is not a guy that is trying to score. Like, he's a pass first person, and he's trying to get everybody in the right position, and he's trying to make sure everybody shines and everybody looks great around him. That's why I think guys like Kobe and Ayo and those other guys, and probably even Giddey, I'm interested to see what that's going to even look like. Like, getting Lonzo Ball on the floor together. Wow. Like, I'm interested to see what that looks like. But yeah, those guys, he sets up those guys to allow them to get their points, to allow them to get their shine, because it's never really like that about Lonzo Ball when he's out there on the floor. But I want to see him play so other teams can see him play and make a decision and say, hey, we would like him on our team. And we'll say happily, yes, whatever you offer, we will take it. Thank you very much. Let's move forward on this. I think it's funny because I think he might be the easiest person to trade because it's just about his health right now. That's it. Can he stand up to the season? Can he stand up to the grind of it? If he can, then yes, I think the team will. Yeah, exactly. Can he stand up? You know what I mean? Can he do any of those things? If he can do all that stuff, then his trade value goes up tremendously, and teams will definitely be looking for that kind of player to have on their team on basically a 1-year deal. So yeah, like it all works out, and it's just dependent on his health, man. So hopefully he looks great in preseason. Like, I think this is why preseason is really, really, really important, and more so than it's been in the past couple of years, because a lot of questions got to get answered, and they got to get answered soon, man. And the only time we're going to be able to see those young guys and these vets actually get minutes and true minutes on the floor is going to be in that preseason. Because when the season starts, Billy is going to have his rotations and have his things, and he's not going to be, his history has shown he's not looking to like showcase, younger guys. He's looking to showcase his vets and try to get wins, which you should do as a coach.
Yeah, and just to piggyback off what Dave was saying there, as far as concern of who of the holdover roster might be getting in the way of this, youth movement with some of these other pieces, and Zach and Lonzo being discussed simultaneously. I am with Dave yet again in that, like, to me, Lonzo getting in the way is not nearly as big of a concern when you're talking about two guys who coming into the season with health questions. For Lonzo, I think, Dave was talking, maybe you can find a trade for this guy midseason if he proves he's healthy and he's on an expiring deal. So, hey, that's a great piece for a playoff-bound team. And the immediacy of the beginning of the season, all of the questions about Lonzo's health and whether or not he can come back are all internal. Yeah. Zach proving that he is, in fact, healthy and a useful version of himself again is vastly more important, in my opinion. And you will see that reflected, as Dave was just mentioning Billy and his rotation, in minutes. I see Lonzo playing 10, maybe 12 minutes a game out of the gate, not playing in back-to-backs. Maybe they ramp him up, trigger warning, from there. But simultaneously, I think, and this is why Billy is in such a tough spot this season. I do not envy him and that job at all. And it's why the Bulls are in such a rock and a hard place situation while trying to see what they have with this new young core and Giddey being added into the mix of Kobe, Ayo, Pat, Dalen, Modest. They also, I think, have to make an effort to prove that Zach LaVine is capable of playing 30-plus minutes a night every night and being some version of his former self while playing 30 minutes a night. They have to do that. They can't just be like, hey, who wants Zach LaVine? By the way, we're going to sit him in the corner and only play him 20 minutes a night. No, Zach's going to play a lot out of the gate this season. They have no other choice.
Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah, definitely. So this is kind of a shit or get off the pot situation now that coming into this season for Patrick Williams, I think. It's time for him to actually prove that he can be that player that he says he wants to be and that we all want him to be, that we all think that he has the tools to be.
Yeah.
Or it's time to kind of find a new home for him, I think. Is he done? Or do you think that he can step up in any capacity to help this team this season?
Go ahead, man.
We were talking with our pals here, Fred, about this today. We had just done our Patrick Williams Prove It. I think on Monday's episode.
Yeah.
I think so, yeah.
I am not ready quite yet to say Patrick Williams is done. He will always be this milquetoast player that we've seen through the first 4 years of his career. Two of which were significantly cut short by injury. One of them basically, like, he played 17 games his second season. So there's one excuse. The other excuse that to me is now gone, and I know Bulls fans had endless arguments about this on Twitter over the last couple of years, is DeMar being here in the way of Patrick Williams developing and blossoming into a better version of himself than what we've seen so far. I've gone back and forth on it a little bit, but for the most part, I have always held firm in the camp of people who believe, of course, it has impacted his lack of development so far, because he's playing on a team with three veteran star or quasi-star players in DeMar, Zach, and Vooch, who are commanding all the touches and all the shots. And he has not proven to be an assertive, give me the ball, damn it, kind of player mentality-wise when he's out there on NBA courts on a nightly basis. The DeMar excuse is gone now. And that's why I am wildly curious to see in this youth movement season, are we going to see a Patrick Williams that can, get himself closer to a usage percentage of 20 when he, had a career high of 16.5 this past season in 43 games? I can't wait to find out, because to me, this season is it. I know they just signed him to a 5-year deal, so he might be around a while, but how can this season not be it when you're talking about, for the love of God, Pat, show us now or you're never going to show us?
Yeah.
Yeah, all fact. Yeah. Matt, before I get into this, what I've always wanted to ask you this: what is milk toast?
Oh, it's just a word I use to describe something that is bland, uninspired, very barely average.
Right. No, I get that. I get it. But what is it? I've never heard. Is this a real thing? Like milk toast? Like dipping your toast in milk and it's just useless? I don't understand. Like, I always wondered.
I have no idea.
Okay. All right.
I've always hold on. Let's see.
I like it though. I mean, I know what it means when you say it. I like it.
I never thought that there was like an actual entity like a noun that was an object that is milquetoast. The definition in the dictionary is a timid or feeble person. Feeble, uninspired, bland. Origin 1930s from the name of a cartoon character, Casper Milquetoast, created by H.T. Webster in 1924.
Nice. Okay, it's disgusting, and Matt is using it correctly. Yes,
it basically looks like a cat threw up on a slice of toast.
Oh man! Oh my god!
That might be the meanest correlation to Patrick Williams' NBA game that I've ever heard.
Yeah. When you start breaking it down, it's not very nice, really, is
it? Describe Patrick Williams' game. It's like a cat threw up milk on a piece of toast, and then people will look at you and say, "Yeah, that's about right. Yeah, I get it." Listen, you said it's a shit to get off the pot, like. Pat has been on the pot so long, like his ass is probably asleep. Like he's been on that pot, bro. And I mean, like I agree, 100% agree with Matt. And I've been saying for the long, like especially this year, like this is the no excuses tour for Patrick Williams this season. That they're done with the excuses. They're out the door. All that is removed. You know, like DeMar is holding you back. Well, guess what? He's out of there. Not healthy. Well, it's what we're hearing from him is he's healthy and he'll be ready to go by training camp. He'll have plenty of space. There isn't just one real guy on the team outside of like Zach that has to have the basketball like that. I mean, Kobe's going to get his and he's going to do his thing, but there's room. There is nothing but there's a DeMar, as Will said, there is a DeMar-sized hole in this offense that needs to be filled, and it has to be filled by multiple players. And Patrick Williams is one of those guys we're looking at. And yeah, like I just can't hear it after this year if it doesn't work. Like, I don't know what you hang your hat on and what you hold on to, but this was always the year for me. And I just need the cloak removed, you know, and all the things out of his way so I can sit there and watch him and be like, okay, bro, like everything that you needed is gone and it's out the way. Let's see what you are. And I do that with so many players. Like I did it with Jay Cutler a lot when he was with the Chicago Bears. And it was, the offensive line was trash. I get it. You know, he's going to need some receiver. Let's get Brandon Marshall and Matt Forte in there. Yo, he needs the right kind of coach. He picked the right coach. Yo, he's got to get his money. Let's make him the highest paid quarterback in the league. And he was still the average quarterback. He never changed. And that's when I got off the ship. So that's what it is with Patrick. Like, he's gotten his money. He's got his paper. He's got his time because now he's got his space as well. He could be the 3. He could be the 4. We'll probably see him, you know, both 2 iterations of him at both those positions. So it's shit'll get off the pot time for him, man. And I mean, his ass, his leg, like all of it is probably sleeping right now. He's got to get off the pot or let it go. Like, you know, something is bunching them up down there. Too much cheese or something. Too much of those chicken parms are really clogging them up, dog. He's got to stop, bro. But I am hoping and praying that he does well this season because, like Matt said, like I still have belief in Patrick Williams, man. He is the prototypical NBA player. When you just, like I said this on the show, if you put up a silhouette of Patrick Williams, you'll be like, yeah, that's how a prototypical NBA player is supposed to look without, even if you didn't know basketball. Just looking at this dude, you're like, him, this guy, he can play.
The thing that's so frustrating is that, like, and again, the context of these handful of very specific games that I'm about to mention is teams are kind of sitting their best guys because it's game 81 or 82 of a season. They're locked into their seed. They're playing out the final strings. But in those kinds of games over the last couple of seasons, where like the Bulls are resting their guys, their opponents are resting their guys. And Pat's like, you know, I think not this past season, but the season prior when he, you know, very proudly, he was like, I want to play all 82, went out there and was like, oh, no one else is around? All right, cool. I'm going to drop 30. And like, yes, he did it against a B team NBA squad that they were playing against, but it's still a squad of NBA players. And so like, it doesn't compute to me that there could be that big of a gap of regular night to night Patrick Williams, who's like, I scored 4 points and grabbed 3 rebounds tonight. Job done. And one who has it in him to say, oh, I got to lead the squad tonight because it's game 82 and people are sitting. Cool. And then remind everyone and maybe himself that he has the physical tools to go out there and drop 30 on an NBA court. It is maddening that those two things are so far apart.
Yeah, and also he has held himself to this level. He is one that said, I can be an all-star. He is the one that said, well, I don't just now think I can be an all-star. I think I can be an all-pro. Like, he's saying this stuff. Like, how else do you want me to think and treat you when you're the one talking to me like this, man? Like, yeah, man, like he's got to prove it. It's time to prove it, man. No more excuses, dog. It's got to be handled out on the floor for him.
Yeah. Definitely.
Yeah, I mean, P. Will's Neill's guy. I'm not so high on him. One thing I do remember when we had Tim Sinclair on, I think it was last year, not the most recent one, and he said P. Will could walk in a room and you wouldn't know he was there. Whereas most NBA players, they're there.
Yeah.
And that said a lot to me personally. But obviously a lot of questions around P. Will. There's a lot of questions around majority of the roster, to be fair. But is there another player on the roster that you think it's a real prove it year for in terms of like P. Will's prove it?
Well, Josh Giddey's got to prove, you know what I'm saying? But that's because he's got to prove it for his contract, you know what I'm saying, his future of his career. He's got to prove it. So I don't even think it's just prove it on the Bulls. But I think slightly Dalen's got to start proving stuff too. Dalen Terry, and that's my guy. But he's got to start proving it on the floor. He's another one that will get time and will get an opportunity to get out there on the floor. Again, guys gonna, I'm not wishing injury on anybody, but it's the NBA. Guys are gonna get hurt. Some guys are gonna sit out a couple games. Stuff is gonna happen. So there'll be an opportunity for him, to do his thing. And he's worked hard this offseason on his three-point shot. He really has. He's worked very, very hard on that and on his handles. So I'm interested to see what that looks like on the floor, because it's got to start clicking and matching his mentality, which I have always loved from the beginning. So some of those things have to start clicking in that instance. And I'm interested to watch it and see it. Like, seriously, like, yeah, it's a year for him, man. Like, he's got room to, be that kind of basketball player this season. And I want to see him kind of step into that, step into that role, step into that spotlight, and grab that torch and run.
Yeah, I mean, Dalen was the one that first came to mind when you posed the question and Dave was answering. And, like, yes, obviously, as he said, Giddey, the Bulls need to figure out whether or not they want to throw a giant contract in front of that guy, 9 months from now, which is horrifying in so many ways to me. But when you're talking about this being a youth movement and, like, who has, like, I feel like Kobe, Io, maybe to a lesser extent Pat, because he just inked himself a deal, are comfortable in who they are and their roles on this team coming into this season. If you're talking about guys who are going to be scraping and fighting for maybe 8-9 minutes a night at the end of Billy's rotation, Dalen Terry has got to be thinking, I need to prove myself. Because we saw at times last season when the Bulls were really shorthanded in a variety of ways with people leaving for various injuries. Dalen would come in and every once in a while have this night where it's like, Dalen hit 1 3 and then airmailed the other 2 that he took, but he was a spark plug out there and he made some things happen on defense in transition and was that like energy guy. And so much of, I think, his NBA future rides on whether or not he can actually become a reliable floor spacer. Like that is it for Dalen. Will he get enough minutes to prove that this season? That's a big question, because the Bulls also have to make a decision on the club option they have on Dalen, which, by the way, the deadline for is October 31st, a month and a half from now. So other young guys, Julian Phillips, for example, who younger, still has a little bit more time as far as fighting for a new contract or trying to prove that he can stick around. Dalen, I think, is a bit more desperate than Julian in that regard. Whereas Dalen is Dave's guy. You guys, I think, know that Julian Phillips is somebody that I have had perhaps unhealthy amounts of faith in when I've been looking for something to keep me mentally sane and happy enough over the last couple of seasons for the Bulls. But I mean, think about Billy's rotation. Assume the starting five before Zach gets traded, if he does: Kobe, Zach, Giddey, Pat, Vooch. You got Io off the bench. You got Lonzo off the bench if he's healthy. Torrey Craig is still here. Javon Carter's still here. Are Dalen and Julian 10 and 11 going to leapfrog either of those two vets that I just named ahead of them in Billy's rotation? And how many minutes are they going to get on a regular basis? Like that's to me the fight of who is maybe going to be a part of this youth movement, but hasn't really solidified the ground underneath them yet.
I forget Javon Carter is on the roster still so often, and I hate it when I'm reminded of it. So thanks for that.
Sorry, sorry, buddy.
Be gone, Carter. He just needs to just go away. Anyway, that's besides the point. He's not going to be so easy to get rid of yet. Anyway, so I suppose let's take it a slight step away from basketball for a second. Let's talk a little bit about yourselves, and got a couple of little things to bring up. Dave, you're always referencing music. We know that you're a bit of an audiophile. You love your music. Yeah. If you had to pick your top 3 albums of all time, what would they be? And a side question to that is, do you listen to music to match your mood or change your mood?
Okay. First question. My top. Well, I'll just give you the top 5.
Okay, I will do.
Number 5 is Exodus by Bob Marley. Number 4. Number 4 is Illmatic by Nas. Number 3 is Pet Sounds by the Beach Boys. Number 2, What's Going On by this dude behind me, Marvin Gaye. And number 1, I feel is the greatest album of all time. It's just it's Thriller. Like it's Thriller is just, I mean, dude, like you put it on and that's it. You're done. You know what I mean? I don't care your mood. Like you put on Thriller, it's something on there for everybody. Like it's insane how you get 7 number 1s on 9 songs. That's insane. Do I play music to, you said to change my mood or to
match your mood?
Match my mood. Both. Yeah, like I've made so many playlists to kind of, I have a playlist that when I know I'm going to be walking, that I just walk to. And there's songs on there that I feel like, yeah, this sounds like something I want to walk to. Anytime I go out of town, there's a playlist for it. So anytime we go to Vegas, there's a playlist for it. Anytime I go out of the country, there's a playlist for it that I have made to, I guess, remind, I don't know, like it's just what I think I feel, you know what I mean? What I think I'm gonna feel when I get over there, and or maybe what I'm feeling in that moment. So yeah, like it's for all that. It's for when I want to change my mood, when I want to improve my mood, when I'm feeling sad, when I'm feeling happy, like whatever. Like I got a song for it. I got an album for it. You know what I mean? In any kind of state or any kind of fashion, there's something out there that I'm gonna put on. Yeah, for whatever kind of mood I'm trying to do.
Yeah, I love it. I collect vinyl myself as well. I'm big into my music too. So
right on.
I love the top 5, but one of these things is not like the other, right? Beach Boys thrown in there really surprised me. Great album, by the way. Great album, but
brilliant.
Surprised me. It surprised me compared to the ones that were surrounding it. Let's put it that way.
Well, this is me.
Absolutely.
This is me. Like, yeah, well, you're not gonna get what you expect, but you're gonna get what you expect. If that makes any sense. But yeah, that's me. I'm unexpected. Yeah, there you go. And I mean, I still remember when I first heard the album. Like, my friend of mine gave me that album, and I took a train to see my sister on Thanksgiving, and he was like, "Dude, you just got to hear it in mono." And let's just do it in mono. And I was just like, I don't know what he's talking about. Like this album, I didn't see the big deal. And then I played it in stereo. I was like, holy crap. I was like, everything, all the sounds that were going on within it, the harmonies. I'm a sucker for harmonies. Like the harmonies that were happening. Lyrically, it is just unmatched. Like God Only Knows might be the greatest one. You can argue it's the greatest song ever written. It's insane, and it's coming from the Beach Boys, like, which is really just dumbfounded. I don't know how much I can curse on here, but when somebody asked me about that album, and I told, what did you say? I'm sorry. Say it again.
I said you can curse.
Oh, okay. And somebody asked me about that album, and I said, dude, it's a clusterfuck of beauty. That's what that album is, dog. And matter of fact, it's hanging up right there behind me.
I see it. Yeah,
right there. Yeah. No, I love that. I listen to it all the time. Yeah, it's mind blowing to me, man. So shout out to Brian Wilson and the rest of the crew and Mike Love and all of them, bro. Like that. Yeah, that's incredible album. Incredible.
Just to chime in my 2 cents, I mean, today we had a perfect example, anecdote moment of like Big Dave loves all music. Like he loves the concept of music. He loves the science of music. He loves the beauty and the art and the emotion that music evokes in a billion different ways. And I think that maybe early on in our friendship, I perhaps made some, at the time, ignorant assumptions about what kind of music Dave likes and listens to. And maybe made some assumptions about certain music that he didn't listen to or care for or know anything about. And then over the course of our time together, I have learned and have been reminded every day, Dave just loves music. So like we were sitting at the office earlier today, and it was like, maybe 10, 15 minutes before we were going to go to set and do our show. And he's like, hey, I got to show you something. He points his phone at me, and it's like some Instagram reel of a guy who like is just like this middle-aged man who like listens to all kinds of music. I've like had videos of his stumble through my Instagram feed. I think he's hilarious because he just rocks out to everything. And I'm like, this guy has Dave vibes. But it was like, the caption was like, what if Enter Sandman by Metallica was yacht rock instead of metal? And then he proceeded to just hold his phone up to me, and I listened to a D-list version of a Michael McDonald impersonator sing Enter Sandman in the style of like soft yacht rock, and I was like, wow, Big Dave really just, if it's music, he's into it.
Dude, I thought about it immediately when I saw this. I was like, I gotta watch his head explode listening to this. Like, he was just like, what is going on? Like, what is happening right now? Yeah, dog. That was crazy. That was really crazy and really cool. Like, but yeah, he's right. Like, I love all kinds of music. It's a language to me. Like, I don't speak any other language yet, but it's language to me. Like, it's allowed me to speak to people in other countries. You know what I'm saying? It's a language. Yeah. So yeah, bro.
It's universal.
Yeah, for sure.
And Peck, I know you're kind of into, like you've already mentioned, Metallica. You like Metallica. You've been to see them several times live, as I have as well myself. Yeah, absolutely. What would be your favorite albums if you had to narrow it down to 3? And would Metallica make the top list?
Man, yes, Metallica would make the top list. I mean, I think Master of Puppets still holds that number 1 spot for me and will for the rest of time. That is the album that my brother used to force me to fall in love with metal when I was like 9 or 10 and thought metal music was just loud and noise and bad, and I didn't fully listen to and understand the nuances and beauty of it. I mean, some of the melodies, some of the instrumental elements of a song and a band that is so metal is like strikingly beautiful to me and always will be. And I think that Puppets was their best album at capturing the dichotomy of those styles and blends of music. And I'm not just a metalhead. Like, Dave said Exodus. I know it's kind of a cheat, but I might throw Bob Marley's Greatest Hits into my top 5 favorite albums.
Legend.
Like,
yeah,
I love Marley. I love Toots and the Maytals, like reggae as a genre. I have always vibed with, and I like jam band stuff. I also, in addition to seeing Metallica umpteen times in my life, am admittedly a Fish head. Like, love Fish. I've seen him a million times. Hoist or Rift might be, up there as far as my favorite albums of all time. Yeah, shocking. White kid from the west suburbs of Chicago likes fish. I know. But I like jam band stuff. I also have a very soft spot in my heart for like 90s rock radio hits, like alt rock. Like Third Eye Blind, one of my favorite bands of all time. Just like late 90s, early 2000s band that had some radio hits that went viral. But I still to this day will just like put them on and listen to them if the mood strikes. I also like a lot of like folk music and indie rock. Shout out Nako and Medicine for the People. Great band, great vibes. Pigeons Playing Ping Pong is probably my favorite like psychedelic jam band these days. I've seen them live a bunch of time in Chicago with some of my buddies. So like I would say my music tastes are all over the place. They're definitely not as eclectic as Dave's, and I do enjoy some of the hip hop and rap and R&B and stuff, and I appreciate the true greats of that genre. I just don't listen to it on a regular basis. But like I love Kid Cudi. T.I., dude, like that album that T.I. dropped in, I want to say like, I don't know, 2007, 2008. I can't remember the name of that one, but the one that just had like banger after banger on it. I freaking love that T.I. album. So, I'll listen to pretty much anything. Like the one thing that I draw the line on is like shit. I call it shit kicker country. Like the thing that if you spin the radio dial driving through dust fields of Texas, and it's just like, I kissed my sweetie with my fist, and then I went to church, and then I bought a gun. Like that kind of country music, I do not vibe with.
Fair enough. We don't tend to get much of that on the radio over here.
Hey, I will say, like, Matt definitely has a wide array of music that he likes. His just is like date specific, because if we're having conversations about music, if it's 90s, so about 2007, 2008, if it's from there to there, that's the sweet spot. Not to tell you anything about a bunch of artists that's going on in that time. After that, he's like, who is this person? I don't know this person. Yeah. Who are you? This sucks. Yeah. You stink. This is trash.
I can talk to you about like Outkast, radio hits, Usher, like on that time, that point in time, every new piece of music, other than a very few exceptions that have come out after 2010, I'm just not interested.
Yeah, I mean, not interested in the slightest. In the slightest. He don't care, dog. And I respect that. I really do. But yeah, but he's right. But see, that's the funny thing. I do have a country playlist because I do like country too. So yeah, of course. It's not that. It's definitely not that kind of music on there. It's like, Patsy Cline, you know what I mean? Stuff from the 60s, 70s, 80s, and 90s. For me, country stopped in the 90s. After that, I don't have a real It's very commercial now. You know what I'm saying? And I just don't really like it like that. Like
until
I like
Beyonce topped the country charts with her latest album, right?
And no freaking nominations at the CMAs. I am shocked. I am shocked.
Was she even invited to attend? Like,
dude, right? Exactly. Like, you know what I mean? Number one country album in the freaking world. Number one. No nominations. Zero. Okay, great.
I will say, I do not care or like new music. When I went down to visit my sister and brother-in-law who do live in Texas earlier this summer, and sadly I have lost part of my sister to country music. She's all about it now. But she made me, when we were on a long car drive, listen to the entirety of that Beyonce country album, and I was like, yeah, this is amazing. Like, well, I mean, it's not amazing because it's country. It's amazing because it's Beyonce.
Because it's Beyonce. Right. And you know what? And I just crapped on new people, but there are some new ones I like. Like, shout out Casey Musgraves. I like Casey Musgraves. She's good. There's a few others that I really, really do.
Who's that dude who just straight up stole Tracy Chapman's fast car? Some country guy.
Oh, like, God, I'm looking right at him.
He played fast car at the Grammys, like at the most recent Grammys, and like Tracy Chapman was on stage with him.
Came out with him.
Yeah, I can't remember that dude's name, but like, dude, screw you. You can't steal. You can't steal fast car from Tracy Chapman. Are you freaking kidding me?
Is it Luke Combs? I think it was Luke Combs.
That sounds right. Yeah.
Okay, I think it was Luke Combs. I don't really like him. Keith Urban, though, I rock with, and I like him, and I've always liked Garth Brooks. I've always liked Brooks and Dunn. Reba McEntire. Oh man, who am I? I'm looking right at her face. Bonnie Raitt. I've always loved. Shania Twain is amazing. Like, there's a bunch of like really great. Carrie Underwood is great. Like, she really is. And
she's no Faith Hill when it comes to Sunday Night Football, but
she's no Faith Hill. You know what I mean? Shout out to Faith Hill. And oh my God, why am I blanking on her husband's name?
Tim McGraw.
Thank you very much. Tim McGraw's album, "Live Like You Were Dying," is amazing.
I do like the Tim McGraw song "My Next 30 Years." It's a real motivating song. Great song.
Yeah, man. No, Tim McGraw can go, man. He's definitely awesome with that. So, but yeah.
There you go.
I like how this is turned into a podcast about music.
Yeah, right.
This is it. You see, you throw something out there, and you know full well it's going to keep going and talking for a while. It's great.
Yeah,
it's great. So we'll bring it back slightly then. Just before we jumped on here, I know you guys saw it, and it was the jersey leak.
Okay.
So I'm going to throw it up here for anyone that hasn't seen it. What are your takes on the supposed City Edition jersey that has just leaked there this evening? Dave, I'll let you give us your opinion first.
Yeah, I don't like them. Yeah, I don't like. It looks like something like if I was wearing it off the court, I'd be like, okay, but like on the court, I no, no, man, that ain't it. That ain't it. I'm looking at it like, where is the Bulls? Like where is the Bulls? Like, there's got to be some kind of like a little bit of red or black in there for something. Like, that's black. Okay, we'll take that. Like that part. But yeah, I don't. Man, it looks like like a warm-up jersey, like something you get like before you get to play for the Bulls. You know what I'm saying? Like,
speaking of milk toast.
Yeah, milk toast there.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. I'm not feeling them for on the court. Off the court, maybe you can get away with it because I can pair it with something. But on the court, no, bro. I don't see it.
Peck, what do you think?
Yeah.
Apart from milk toast.
I'll repeat what I said when I quote tweeted a picture of this, 10 minutes before we hopped on with y'all. I don't care what jerseys the Bulls are wearing this season as long as they keep their top 10 protected pick. Like, dude, wear a freaking potato sack for all I care. Keep that top 10 pick. That is the goal. 1A. There are no other goals as far as I'm concerned. I don't like this. I'm sorry. I know that they're doing this thing where each City Edition jersey has its own motivation to lead the graphic design element of what the jersey looks like, whether it's like Chicago's architecture and Art Deco, which I did like. They did one for the Chicago flag. They did one for the Chicago, river and Lake Michigan. Cool. Wonderful. They did one, harkening back to the old sign outside of the old Chicago Stadium, and I loved that design and how it ended up. This is honoring the 30th anniversary of the United Center as a building. Why? Who cares? Why? Why does a building get its own honorary jersey? I understand because I was there. I was a kid in the nosebleeds, and I was there watching the Bulls win games, including playoff games, including an NBA Finals game in that very building. And it is a huge part of why I'm sitting here talking to y'all right now, doing the job I do as a Bulls fan who is so obsessed with this team that I needed to turn it into what I do with my life.
Right.
Because I was in that building for those events. That being said, the building had nothing to do with it. That's where I went to watch Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen and Dennis Rodman and Steve Kerr and Tony Kukoc and all of those dudes stomp on the entirety of the NBA and win 3 straight championships in that building. The building has nothing to do. They would have done that in any park or any gymnasium anywhere in Chicago or the surrounding areas of Chicago. It doesn't matter that it's the United Center. If anything, I would say the city of Chicago as like a sports fandom collective has much much more deep-rooted ties of emotion and nostalgia to the old Chicago Stadium.
Facts.
Which, given my age range, like I just barely remember a couple of games I went to at the old Chicago Stadium because I was very young. But like, and that's why when they did a jersey about the old Chicago Stadium, I was like, yes, respect. To do this for the United Center, which had 3 championships at its inception, essentially, and then a couple of fun playoff series here or there for the last quarter century. 25 of the 30 years of this building's existence has been a definition of your team is mediocre or worse. We need a jersey to celebrate this building existing. It's not even an attractive building. What is this? God, just the latest example of the Bulls failing at being the Bulls.
So, are you telling me you're not a fan?
I'm officially going to put my mark down on that. No, not a fan.
Yeah, not a fan. I do want to see them on the players. Like, there've been jerseys. I'm not saying it's going to happen in this instance, but they have had jerseys in the past where I was like, I don't know about that. And then I saw the Bulls actually wear them.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, okay. I get it. Like, I get that. But this, I just don't see it, man. Like, and I want to see the shorts. Like, what do the shorts look like? Like, all of that. Like, I want to see all of it, bro. Like,
it's all that, like, cat barf beige-ish tone that's just on the shoulders. The shorts are all cat barf, Dave.
Oh, yeah. No, that's 2% cat barf. Yeah, that's lactose-free cat barf right there, man. Straight up.
It is very vanilla.
Not feeling it. Yeah, I'm not feeling it, bro. Yeah.
What do you think, Matt? As in Matt.
I'm not a fan. Same as what Peck said. I like the backstory behind a lot of them and the videos that Bulls end up putting out and stuff like that.
True.
But I've not really been a fan of many of the City jerseys, to be fair, maybe 1 or 2 of them. And I think this one and last year's are just horrible. And you know my feeling on white jerseys anyway. I'm not a big fan. I wouldn't wear one, put it that way, because usually spill something down it. So I think they look clean.
That should never stop you from wearing a jersey. I'm still trying to get a mustard stain out of my Lowry Markkinen 17-18 City Edition jersey. Those whites with Chicago blue across.
Yeah, so
you'll have to get your Chicago Bulls baby bib.
Yeah.
So I just wouldn't want to spend that sort of money on a jersey to spill something down it. So
yeah.
I mean, spilling something on that might make it look better, but
give it a bit of color.
Well, yeah,
it does make me interested in what the court is going to look like for the midseason tournament because the jerseys match that. You know what I mean? The real jerseys match their court. So, what is the court about to look like? For this, because they're not going to go bright red again.
That is a silver lining of not liking these jerseys. Is it won't be like the blood opening out of the elevators from The Shining when you're looking at that City Edition court from last season. Like, Jesus Christ,
it was aggressive. It was aggressive, and I was the only one who liked because red is my favorite color. So I'm like, sure, more red, put more of that shit on there. Wonderful, but I understand, man. Trust me, I got it. I definitely got it, but. Yeah, I'm curious to see what that looks like with the midseason tournament.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I said that the same to Neill before we come on. That it'd be interesting to see what the court looks like, and I mean, if it's anything like the jersey, it's going to be pretty bland, isn't it? So
yeah, a little bit.
Which
maybe they just need to punch it up by like putting some bold block font type about their culture, like the Heat did with their court.
Oh,
grit. Defense, Heat culture.
Oh my Lord!
I dare you to come into this paint. We're the Heat.
It did literally go right into the paint and dunk on everybody over and over again.
Actually, the Miami Heat leak says Heat culture. I think across their jersey.
Stop it!
Of course it does. Of course it does. You guys excited to lose to the Heat in the second play-in tournament in March? It's happening. Third time's the charm.
Oh yeah.
Oh my gosh.
I believe it when I see it.
Yeah. That's how I feel.
I will walk into traffic on Madison Avenue.
Yeah, see, this is why I got to be around Matt. This is exactly those kind of reasons why I have to be around him, Doug. Like, let's do the show first, Matt.
Every yin needs its yang, right?
Yeah, bro. Yeah.
I can't wait for that no moves trade deadline interview from AK in February of 2025. Well, like we're only a dozen games out of the 6 seed. It's like, well, actually, you're 16 games out of the 6 seed. But...
Right. Just wait and see what we do. Just then. Wait and see what we do. Just wait and see what we do.
We're gonna knock your socks off.
Archie Diacono, thanks attending. Like,
before you judge me, watch what I do. Yeah. Okay,
yeah.
we'll watch what you do, and
we watched
more of the same,
and then we judged.
Yes.
Oh dear.
Oh my gosh, that team was hilarious. It's my squad though. I love them. It's the Bulls.
We're all in it together.
Yeah, bro. We in it.
Ride or die.
That's right.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Without a doubt.
Well, just to finish off and take it back to the roster.
Sure.
Obviously, we did it with you last year. We got your C-Reg UK award predictions with certain players. So far, we've got Tony Gills and Tim Sinclair's for this season, so
okay,
it would be in pretty decent company.
Yeah.
We do keep the receipts, and then we laugh at the end of the season when everyone's got them completely wrong, including ourselves. So we'll start from the bottom like we always do, and I'll go to you first, Big Dave. Your unsung hero for the season.
Unsung hero. Sonogo. I'm joking. Unsung hero. I'm gonna say, let's say Josh Giddey. Let's say Josh Giddey's an unsung hero this year.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, we've struggled this year because you just don't know with this roster.
Yeah,
like the last 3 years, because the roster's been the same, you kind of knew who was going to do what, but this year it's just
all over the place.
Yeah. Same to you, Peck. Unsung hero.
I mean, my brain says Io, despite the fact that I will be championing Io every post game when he has a good night. I think his role will fluctuate this season, just like it has his entire NBA career. So I'm not going to say Io because it won't be unsung. Because if Io has a season that I think he's capable of having on the heels of his very great third season, it will be sung by me, and I think plenty of people. I am going to take a weird route here, and kind of for a speak it into existence reason, I'm going to say my unsung hero for the Bulls in 24-25 will be Zach LaVine. Because I am hoping beyond all hopes that he is healthy, that he reminds this league who he is and what he's capable of, and gets someone out there to say, yeah, this contract is kind of an albatross, but we want that guy for our playoff run, and allow the Bulls to actually continue to move forward with this rebuild. And therefore freeing up those minutes for other young guys who are going to be around in the post-Zach LaVine era. I think it's possible that happens. I'm not like 100% sure that will happen, but how great would it be if the unsung hero of the Bulls season is Zach LaVine because he plays well enough, long enough to get a trade and move this all forward? And if and when that happens, how much credit do you think the average Bulls fan or anyone out there who talks about, covers, discusses the NBA on a daily basis is going to give Zach LaVine any modicum of credit for what that will mean, not only for his fresh start in his career, but what it will mean for the Bulls being able to move forward?
Yeah. May not be a good thing, though, if we lose that top 10 pick.
Well,
because of Zach's fault. I don't think it'd be you.
I don't believe I ever at one point in that little spiel said the word win, Matt.
Well, we know Zach's not a winning player anyway, but
all right.
Obviously, the next one is the Bulls' most improved. And again, I'll go to you first, Big Dave.
Most improved. player on the Bulls. Let's say you know my heart wants to say Dalen Terry, of course. But I'm going to say Patrick Williams. I'm going to say Patrick Williams will be the most improved player on this team. He will have nothing but opportunity. He's not worried about being yanked or changing over anything like that. Doesn't have to think about a contract anymore. All those kind of things are removed from him, and he just has to play. And I think he's going to get a ton of opportunity to do it in a multitude of ways, as far as he can bring the ball up, as far as getting into the post, as far as showing us the little mid-range game that he had been trying to develop, the three-point shooting. You'll see it that way too. I would love to see the rebounds go up. My God, like he should at least have 6 rebounds. Like I'm not asking for 10. Like just give me 6, bro. Like at least 6 boards. He really should. And then go start the break, like because I expect this team to run. But yeah, I'm gonna say Patrick Williams will be the most improved player on this team, man, and because it's what I want. It's what I truly want.
Yep, and same to you, Peck.
I mean, much like Dave wanted to say Dalen, I want to say Julian Phillips. I just don't know if he's going to get the minutes to do so. I also kind of want to say Zach LaVine again. It's kind of a cop-out answer, but like if you're honestly talking about the Zach LaVine that we saw last season, which was like only played a handful of games and looked like crap and or indifferent about being out there, there's a very real chance that the player who looks the best and his production like vastly outperforms their production from last season, it's Zach LaVine, right? Like logically speaking. But for the purpose of the exercise, I will agree with Dave in that, like, look, it freaking better be Patrick Williams.
Yeah.
If it's not Patrick Williams is dead to me. Go get better. No excuses to her.
No excuses to it.
Trademark Big Dave.
Yeah.
It freaking better be. It freaking better be Patrick Williams. And if it's not, dead to me.
That's fair. That's fair.
And the last one and the big one, the MVP. I think last year majority of people went for Zach with this one, which
fair. Yeah.
Obviously it didn't work out that way.
It did not. It did not. I mean, how can I go against Kobe? Like, honestly, like how can I go against him, dog? Like, I refuse to bet against Kobe White. I learned my lesson with Jimmy Butler about betting against dudes who just really want it like that. And yeah, like every hurdle I set up, and I've said this on you guys' show before when we had a discussion, and I brought up Jimmy. Like every hurdle I set up for Jimmy, like he jumped over every single one, and I didn't believe he could do it, and he did it, and kept doing it. And watching Kobe, I just refuse to do that again. And he has done nothing but ascend and become so much better, where he's being talked about on a national level. I mean, just the fact that he finished not just second, but a close second in the Most Improved Player award was a big deal, man. It really was. And I think he's going to do nothing but improve and get better and be a 20-point per game kind of scorer for this team, because he will have that opportunity to put up those threes. His 3-point attempts is definitely going to go up. His opportunities of one-on-ones is going to go up. Go watch his highlights if you're just bored and you want to watch something cool. Go watch some Kobe White highlights, man. Go look at the top 10 that the Bulls put out on him. And you remind yourself of what that dude did last year with a couple of those moves, bro. Like I was blown away. I was up and screaming. And I forgot about that. I'm like, oh, man, he did make a spin move between 2 defenders for the lay-in. Oh, yeah, he did go to the length of the court and dunk on somebody and get fouled. Oh, yeah, that step back 3 was vicious right there. Oh, yeah, 42 on Atlanta in the play-in. Yeah, I remember that too. Like, Kobe had an incredible season, and it didn't feel like a fluke. It felt like the next natural step in his progression. So I feel like he's just going to continue to take those natural steps and be that dude. So, yeah, he'll be MVP for me.
And Peck.
I mean, I think for the most part, Dave.
Say Zach.
Spot on. No, I mean, come on. No, I already gave him that for unsung hero.
Okay.
But I mean, Dave is right to say, like, anytime people have doubted Kobe White and what he can be in the NBA, he usually has proven them wrong. And last year, especially, was the apex of that. I am not necessarily banking on another big leap from Kobe this season in the way that I think plenty of Bulls fans are and are hoping for. Our guy, C-Red Fred, was on our show earlier today saying Kobe White, All-Star, 25. Big Dave, his prove it for Kobe was get to All-Star weekend.
Mm-hmm.
I will proudly wear, not proudly, but I will wear this if I'm wrong. And as much as I appreciate and love the season we all just saw from Kobe and do believe that he is a quality NBA player, I don't know how much more is there. And I certainly don't know how much more is there with the void of DeMar and opponents on a nightly basis when they game plan their defense. Kobe White is the first name on their whiteboards.
Mm-hmm.
I am very curious to see what Kobe looks like when he is the focus and attention of defenses on a nightly basis when DeMar is not. So Dave could be right, and it still could be that the MVP of this team is Kobe White if you're talking about it from a production and statistical standpoint. The person who I also was tempted to say as my answer for unsung hero, I will also throw his name into this category of maybe dark horse MVP because they are going to do a lot of things and wear a lot of hats and be a workhorse all season long in a lot of different roles. And maybe the best two-way player on this team is Ayo Dosunmu. Mm-hmm. That's another dark horse name I would throw into this. When you get to the end of the season and he might not be leading the Bulls in lots of statistical categories, but you get to the end of what will probably be a very difficult slog of a season and say, man, who was here in and out every night working their ass off to give the Bulls some wins, to give the Bulls some hope. Right there with Kobe will be Ayo. And I know Giddey's the new thing that we all need to be worried about and focused about. We'll see. But all I know is that Ayo Dosunmu is going to be there working his ass off all season long because he has proven to be that type of dude. Yeah. And then my was going to be a cop-out answer, but I didn't want to give a cop-out answer. Who's the real MVP of the upcoming Bulls season? Bulls fans. Y'all are the MVP. If you are going to be tuning in and watching this team play 82 games and, hopefully tuning in to the coverage that me and Big Dave and our, the rest of our crew, Willie Gottlieb over there at CHGO do, or, maybe you're going to go see what the new network and their pre and post looks like, more than welcome to do that. If you're going to be tuning in to the podcast of these hardworking people like Matt and Neill, who are up in the middle of the night watching Bulls games because they're sickos, because they can't turn it off because they love this team like we do.
Bless you.
This season ain't going to be pretty, y'all. It's not going to be pretty. So the true MVPs of this Bulls season that we're about to all embark upon together are those of you out there watching the team and the games and tuning into our content because we appreciate and love y'all so much.
Yeah, absolutely. It won't be pretty, but it could be fun. It could be fun.
Fun bad. That's the motto, right?
Fun bad.
The 24-25 Chicago Bulls.
Yes.
Fun bad.
Fun bad. Let's go. Print the T-shirts. Yeah. Let's go.
At least it's going to be different, and it's not the same regurgitated crap that we've been dealing with for the last few years, and that gives me something to look forward to at least.
I can't wait to see Modest. I can't wait to see him on the floor. I can't wait to watch this Uber. Look, yo.
Neil's already got a Modest shirt.
Already with the shirt, yo. Like Matt said, you sickos. He's selling out shirts. Oh my gosh, bro. Yo. That's amazing, dog. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Well, I think on that note, obviously, as you've called us sickos and it's 2:00 in the morning here, I think it's time to sort of wrap up and obviously thank you for your time and appreciate you coming on. Obviously, you're up there now with Tim Sinclair as third-time guest, so once again, you're in good company.
Honored. We love and appreciate you guys for what you do for the Bulls fan community, especially those out there in UK, in Europe. hanging on and holding down that time zone for the Bulls fans who exist all over the world, which is one of the coolest things that, you know, Dave and I have always felt about getting to do this gig and interacting with Bulls fans is that, hey, we just did a podcast and we're talking to people who live over there in the UK 2 a.m. Yeah, because why not? Because why not? Because we love this team. That's why. So much love and appreciation to you guys.
Yeah,
thank you. Appreciate that. Thanks so much for coming on, guys. It's always great fun talking to you.
Yes, sir.
You're heading over for the Bears game in London, right? Are you coming over for that, or
no? Because the Bulls are in action.
Okay, that's right. Yeah, they'd be playing preseason, right?
Yeah, they'll be playing preseason.
Yeah.
I will say I haven't given up hope on me actually going over there. I haven't given up hope.
Dave has been known to pull off an impromptu trip out of nowhere.
He's right. I have been known to do this. I've definitely been known to do this, and I haven't given up hope. I mean, I've never been. Matt's been there before. You know, he used to be there before, so he knows it pretty well. I've never been there before, so
I miss it and haven't been back since. I did my junior year abroad in London, and I have not been back since. So it's time.
There you go. Yeah. Well, if you do head over, I'm sure there'll be plenty of people to come up and say hi to you. You are well known over this part of the world as well.
Oh wow!
And Tim Sinclair's coming over as well.
Yeah.
Oh wow!
Oh yeah!
Shout out.
He's told us
that dude's gonna have a busy fall between his various Bulls and Bears responsibilities, man.
He is.
Shout out Tim Sinclair, man. We love that.
Sinclair and Adam Amin, the hardest working people at Chicago sports media.
Man, shout out. Tim is always down, bro. Shout out to him.
Oh, he is lovely guy. Absolutely sound guy.
He's gonna get a little tired of saying from Chicago.
Whole team.
I mean, technically the entire lineup could be all from Chicago if they juggled it that way.
Maybe it used to be special. Now it's just like, from Chicago.
Yeah. What if he just condensed it down and it was like, and now the starting lineup of your Chicago Bulls, and then he just has a little dramatic pause, and then he just says, Chicago. One time.
Well, it's like you say, Dave, right? The big thing was to say from Chicago. Now the big thing is going to be to say not from Chicago.
Right.
That's exactly the thing that's isolated.
Right. You're going to be happy to be from somewhere else. You're like, oh, shout out Kobe White being from North Carolina. Good job. Right.
Yeah. Good job.
From Fayetteville, Arkansas.
Right. Oh, man.
But thanks so much for coming on, guys. Thanks for having the chats. It's always so much fun. You were so accommodating to me when I was in Chicago the last time. Really appreciate that, myself and Finn. Sorry we had to rush away, but I know you were going in to do the wrestling pod after that as well. So, we kind of left you to it. But I'm actually back in Chicago I'd promised my little girl, I think I mentioned this to you, I was going to bring my little girl over to see Alex Caruso play because he was her favorite player.
Ooh.
And now Alex Caruso is no longer a Chicago Bull.
That's the home opener?
Yes.
Yeah, the home opener is
I'm coming over for the home opener with my daughter to
let's go.
Okay,
so she can at least see Alex Caruso play, even if it's in the wrong jersey.
Hey, okay. All right. Let's see, man.
That's
we might
parent
cross paths on the way
dedication and love right there. That's what that is.
Yeah.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is, man. It's also an excuse. It's also a really good excuse.
No,
come on over and watch
promised my little girl I have to go back to Chicago.
That's how you say, honey, it's for the kids. I got to do this. These are core memories.
That is a smart sports fan dad right there.
Hey, it's not just a hat rack, ladies and gentlemen. It's not just a hat rack.
Or it's the ultimate sicko and pushing it onto your kids as well.
Yes,
there is that too.
Yes, sir.
Yep.
Yes,
Spot on, Matt. Spot on.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Let it continue. That's right.
Mm-hmm. It's shared pain in this household.
Word.
But so thanks so much, fellas. And we'll wrap it up here. So once again, do you want to give us your information as to where people can find you if they've been living under a rock?
We are CHGO _Bulls. You can find us on our CHGO Sports YouTube channel. 5 days a week through the offseason, which we are now almost finished with. And then once we kick into season gear, live pre and post game streaming on YouTube every single Bulls game of the season. In addition to that, we are now also streaming on the Roku. So if you are using the Roku streaming app, check us out. Find us. I think 262 is our Roku channel, Dave. Yeah, there we are. There is where you can find us. Then, of course, all of your various preferred podcast streaming platforms.
Fantastic. Take care, guys. Thanks so much for being with us.
Yeah, welcome back. And as always, thanks to Matt and Dave. Two that we always say this with every guest we have, but Bulls for hours, and I mean they could speak for hours anyway. So
definitely, yeah.
Obviously, the chat did go on quite long as it was, so you don't want to listen to us droning on anymore. But I've got nothing else. I don't know if you have.
No.
So yeah, on that note, again, thanks to Matt and Dave for joining us, and thanks to everyone who's listened, watched, and if you are watching, don't forget to hit the subscribe on YouTube and help us out that way. And until next time, I've been Matt. You can find me on Twitter at MattCRedUK, and you can find us on all the socials at CRedUK.
And I'll be there on Twitter at NeillCRedUK. On behalf of Matt, myself, and our special guests today, Matt and Dave, and of course, the Fans First Sports Network. Thanks once again to everyone for tuning in. From us both, remember it's a Chicago Bulls thing wherever in the world you are. Until next time, see red people and go Bulls.